Preamble is the first topic in our series. Just it is a basic introduction about the preamble. In the preamble, we have chance to observe so many issues: source of authority, nature of the state, objectives of the constitution, adoption of the constitution. These things are there. We will try to discuss elaborately in our regular class. So, first we will try to observe what is preamble. Preamble means it is a foreword. Preamble means it is a foreword or preface of the constitution. For example, if you buy any book in the market, you have a chance to observe the foreword of that book. Means on that foreword, that writer he mentioned what is the purpose of the book, why he wrote that book. So these type of things, writer or some expert they mention these issues related to that book. Like this, preamble is also a foreword of the constitution. If you understand the preamble in a proper manner, we have a chance to understand the constitution in a proper manner. So in the preamble, so source of authority is people. So in this manner, so many keywords are there in the preamble. First keyword is sovereign. What is sovereign? Sovereignty means unquestionable power. Sovereignty means unquestionable power. This sovereignty is two types. Number one, internal sovereignty. Internal. Number two, external sovereignty. Number two, external sovereignty. Internal sovereignty, external sovereignty. Internal sovereignty means within the territory, within the Indian territory, if Parliament made any law, no one can question. No one can question means we will try to observe rational limitations are there. Whatever the laws are made by the Parliament, if it is irrational, if it is against the rights of the citizen, if it violates the democratic framework, on that condition, Supreme Court have chance to question that law. That is nothing but judicial review. So, other than that, whatever the law made by the Parliament, no one can question. Means we are electing our representatives, we send our representatives to the Parliament, means we are giving that authority to the Parliament. So just you observe one thing, they have a chance to ask the question in the objective module. In India, who is having a sovereign power? People are having a sovereign power. Because of that, we are electing our representatives. And if they ask the question, what is sovereign body? Parliament is a sovereign body. So, because whatever the members are elected by the people, they have a chance to make the laws, no one can question. That is the internal sovereignty. External sovereignty means equal status among other nations. Equal status among other nations. Equal status among other nations means India is no way inferior to any other nation. At the same time, India is no way superior to any other nation. India is also equal to other nations. That is external sovereignty. Why should we mention these external sovereignty? So we will try to observe some history. At the time of 1949, India became a member of Commonwealth on the time. On the time, our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, he declared one thing. Whenever India become a member of Commonwealth nations, Britain is also having a remarkable role in the Commonwealth. So first we will try to observe what is Commonwealth. Commonwealth means who got the independence from the Britain. That nations, that group of different nations established that organization, that is Commonwealth. On that Commonwealth, British or Britain is also a member on that Commonwealth nations. On the time, whenever we become a Commonwealth member, India became a Commonwealth member at the time of 1949. Our Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru declared, if it is any problem or if any inconvenience is arise on that condition, we are ready to sacrifice our membership in the Commonwealth, but we are not ready to sacrifice the sovereignty. So because of that, we are having external sovereignty. As a sovereign country, we are having internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. This is sovereign. Sovereignty means unquestionable power. Sovereignty is two types, internal and external. Internal sovereignty means whatever the laws made by the Parliament, no one can question. External sovereignty means equal status among other nations. This is sovereign. First keyword of the preamble. Next word in the preamble is socialist. What is socialism? Socialism means elimination between the rich and poor variation. Socialism means elimination between the rich and poor variation. So the word socialist is there in the constitution, but the word socialist is not there at the time of 1950. In the basic Indian constitution, the word socialist is not there in the preamble. The word socialist is not there in the preamble. So we incorporate the word socialist in the year 1976 through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment. Through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment 1976, we incorporate this word socialist. In the examination, they have chance to ask the question, the word socialist is incorporated in which year? If they ask that question, you have a chance to write the answer 1976. But they are asking the question, India is a socialistic nation from the, they are asking question, they are giving 4 options. India is a socialistic nation from the independence onwards, from the 1976 onwards, from the 1950 onwards, India is not socialist. These type of 4 answers they are providing. Don't opt 1976. Just remember, India is a socialistic nation from the beginning, means from the independence onwards. India is a socialistic nation from the independence onwards. Just the word socialist is incorporated in the year 1976. This is the difference. If they ask the question, the word socialism is incorporated in the year 1976. India is a socialistic nation from the independence onwards. So one more doubt we have chance to observe. Socialism means elimination between the rich and poor variation. You are saying India is a socialistic nation. In India, so much of rich and poor variations we have chance to observe. Drastic difference is there between the rich and poor. How can we say India is a socialist? So I will try to clarify this. Just you observe one thing. Whatever the words we have chance to observe in the preamble, some words are having different meaning. In the Indian context, the meaning is different. Original meaning is different. The original meaning of socialism means elimination between the rich and poor variation. Indian context of socialism means public welfare. So from the beginning, from the independence onwards, India thinking about the public welfare. So India is a socialistic nation. So next we will try to observe the chronology of socialism. Chronology of socialism means from the independence to now, what type of socialistic activities are going on in India. This is very important. So many socialistic activities are done by the government. At the same time, we need to observe one thing. Whenever we write the objective module examination, they have chance to ask some facts also. So first we observe. In the year 1948, first IPR, first Industrial Policy Resolution, first IPR was made by the Parliament. What is first industrial policy resolution? In the economy, we are discussing elaborately about the industrial policy resolutions, but it is a polity subject. Because of that, just according to our requirement, we will try to understand the first IPR. Simply remember, in the first industrial policy resolution, major industries are located with the hands of the government and minor industries are located with the private. Whenever major industries are located with the hands of the government, government is thinking about the public welfare. So first IPR is thinking about the socialist, means it is nothing but public welfare. Always keep in your mind, Indian context of socialism means public welfare. Next, in the year 1950, we implement the constitution. In our constitution, 4th part of the Indian constitution, we are having DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. In this Directive Principles of State Policy, we are having a socialistic principles. So in these directive principles of state policy, whenever we are having a socialistic principle, India is absolutely a socialistic nation. What are the socialistic principles? Means right to provide the right to work. These type of things we have chance to observe in the socialistic principles. We will try to discuss elaborately in our directive principles topic. Next, in the same year 1950, we create the planning commission. PC means planning commission. Now we are not having a planning commission. Now we are having a Niti Aayog. On the time we are having a planning commission. Planning commission allocate the resources according to the requirements of the different states. So planning commission is also strengthen the socialism. Next, in the year 1955, our Prime Minister, first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, he declared India is a socialistic pattern society. Whenever Prime Minister declared India is a socialistic pattern society, we must should accept that India is a socialist. So, but one thing, Indian context of socialism is different. We are having a mixed economy, capitalists and government and private, both sectors are there in India. So, mixed economy. In the year 1955, Jawaharlal Nehru declared in Avadi Congress session, India is a socialistic nation. Then, in the year 1956, second IPR, second Industrial Policy Resolution, second IPR. So, first IPR 1948, second IPR 1956. What is the difference between the first Industrial Policy Resolution and second Industrial Policy Resolution? In the first Industrial Policy Resolution, some industries are located with the hands of the government. In the second Industrial Policy Resolution, some more industries are located with the hands of the government. So, whenever more industries are located with the hands of the government, it is nothing but more socialism. So, in the same year 1956, Company Act was made by the Parliament. According to the Company Act 1956, if any public limited company established maximum share of the government, minimum share of the government is 50%, 51%. Government minimum share is 51%. Maximum share of the private is 49%. So whenever government minimum share is 51% means government have chance to have 100% share. Private share is maximum 49% means private is having 49% maximum means sometimes even though with zero private share we have chance to run a public limited company. So whenever government share is more, it is nothing but public welfare, means it is nothing but socialism. In this manner, after this 1956, in the year 1969, 14 banks are nationalized. In the year 1980, another 6 banks are nationalized. Nationalization of banks are also strengthened the socialism. In the year 1976, the word socialism was incorporated. In the year 1978, with the effect of 44th Constitutional Amendment, CA means Constitutional Amendment, right to property is removed from the list of fundamental rights. Right to property is removed from the list of fundamental rights. So, from the 1948 to now, from the independence to now, we are observing so many socialistic activities. But if you observe in a keen manner, up to 1980, we are observed different landmark years related to socialism. But after this, gradually socialism is declined. So, with the impact of 1991 LPG, new IPR, new Industrial Policy Resolution made by the Parliament. In this new Industrial Policy Resolution, government role is minimized. Means that is that whenever government role is minimized, there is nothing but dilution of the socialism. Means that is nothing but decline of socialism. In the year 1992, whenever we implement the 8th 5 years plan, 8th plan is also called indicative planning. Indicative planning means government just guide the economy, that is indicative planning. After that, in the year 1994 onwards, gradually so many sectors are privatized. In the year 1994, civil aviation is privatized and telecommunications are also privatized. Civil aviation is privatized means before the 1994 we are having only Indian Airlines and Air India private services are there. After the 1994 we are having so many different types of private jet services and flight services are allowed in the civil aviation sector. After the 1994, so many private telecom companies are also involved. Before 1994 we are having only BSNL phones. So gradually we encourage the private sector. That is nothing but decline of socialism. Now 2020, in 2020, even though we encourage the private train services, almost all sectors except few, except atomic energy, uh, military, these type of sectors, almost in all the different sectors, private private sector, private people are entered. So because of that, some critics they criticize India is not socialist. But you remember one thing, one non-government organization, NGO, Foundation for Good Governance, this NGO, they filed the public interest litigation in the Supreme Court. That is, they filed the public interest litigation on that bill. They are asking the question to the Supreme Court. Whenever government is privatize all the different sectors, why should we continue the word socialism in the preamble? Please remove the word socialism from the constitution. On the time, Supreme Court clarified that India is a socialistic nation, even though now, because even now, so many government programs strengthen the public welfare. For example, if you take the central government and state government, they are providing so many welfare programs to the people. If you take the widow pensions or physically challenged pensions, or so many different types of public welfare programs are there. Civil supply shops are there. Private, so many subsidies are there. Because of that, we must should accept one thing: socialism is gradually declined from the 1991 onwards. Socialism is diluted. It is decline of socialism. But one thing you remember, after the 1991 to 2020, every year in the budget allocation we are increasing for the welfare. So we must should say, finally, India is a socialistic nation, even though it is diluted. So government is not skipped from the socialistic activities. Means government encourage always the public welfare programs. So India is a socialistic nation. If you prepare any competitive examination, either it is objective module or descriptive module, don't try to mark the bits. It is not useful for the aspirant. For example, just now in this video, we are discussing about two small words. Number one, sovereign. Number two, socialist. If you are having a clear idea about what is sovereign and what is socialist, you have a chance to ask the question, whatever they are asking. If you chance to answer the question, whatever you are asking, whatever they are asking. So this is sovereign and socialist.